Right here on Business Today, but we start with the highlights. Tea farmers in Mount Kenya region go to the polls to elect new KTDA factory directors despite court order barring elections. Kenya shilling gains ground against the dollar as IMF cash injects life into local currency, in turn easing the cost of imports. And we shine a light on the process that could be leading to unsafe meat production and consumption. And here are the markets. Well, to start us off is matters to do with the shilling, how it is performing. Over the course of the past 1 week, we want to take a look at the trajectory the shilling has been taking against the dollar. Looking at the 1st of April 2021, we have 109 shillings and 35 cents against the dollar. Now, there was a holiday in between there. Then on the 6th, we moved to 108 shillings and 92 cents against the dollar. The shilling is getting stronger. Then on the 7th, we saw actually the 7th of April, 108 shillings and 60 cents. And that moved, actually it strengthened further to 108 shillings and 24 cents. But look at the next slide, how these numbers are changing. On the 9th of April, we had the shilling against the dollar going for 107 shillings and 97 cents. And on the 12th, that is today, it is 107 shillings and 28 cents. So the shilling is gaining traction against the dollar. And the question is, how is this happening? Is it because of the IMF loan? We're meant to understand that the 256 billion facility that was supposed, actually that has been given to Kenya, and we saw a lot of outrage. It was approved on the 2nd of April, and that was 33 billion. That is the first tranche that was supposed to be released. It was approved on the 2nd and released on around the 5th and 6th there of April 2021. Now, that impacted our foreign exchange reserves, and our reserves went up by 82 billion shillings. That is quite a leap, considering, I mean, what can 82 billion shillings do to our economy? That is quite a concern. Some people have pegged that to IMF disbursement, but others also are saying the recent 60 billion shillings infrastructure bond that was issued by the National Treasury, actually, it received an oversubscription. They took in 81.9 billion shillings. A lot of locals are putting money, and these are majorly banks, buying into the government, again raising a bigger discussion of exactly who will lend to our SMEs. But since we are discussing the shilling gaining against the dollar, we're meant to understand that only 2.6% of the total infrastructural bond portfolio is owned by foreigners. That money is coming from outside, and majority of it is coming from within the system, majorly from commercial banks. And that is the discussion that we want to have in terms of our shilling gaining tractions. I'm joined by Ken Gishinga from our studios, the City Center. Thank you very much, Ken. Looking at this figure that we are seeing from 109, 110, right now we are playing at 107 shillings and 28 cents. What do you attribute this to?
Indeed, Noah, we have seen the shilling appreciating to about 107.28, and obviously this is the strongest it's been since late July last year. Now, there are a couple of reasons that are driving this. Obviously, the main reason has to do with the infrastructure bond that was highly oversubscribed by about 140%. and that attracted in quite a bit of dollars. But there's also that second narrative that you've just posed on the IMF disbursement hitting the central bank and contributing to the dollar reserve. So I think those two could be acting together to create what we are seeing right now.
And looking at the impact of this, when we have our shilling, appreciate or gain strength against, the dollar, how does this impact trade?
Well, obviously there'll be winners and losers. On the winning side, you'll find the importers. That businessman who's trying to import a car from Japan, the textbook seller who's trying to import books, the pharmaceutical company that's trying to get drugs from abroad. Those importers tend to get favored, to be on the winning side. On the losing side, it will be your exporters. This is your tea farmer, your coffee farmer, your flour farmer, or even that recipient of diaspora remittances. They will be on the losing side. So net-net, those are pretty much how it will play out.
And now the projection, is this trend going to continue moving forward in terms of shilling strengthening against the dollar by your projections?
I mean, if the central bank continues to issue those infrastructure bonds, definitely investors will take advantage of those. Those infrastructure bonds give you returns of about 12.5 to sometimes even 13%, and that's a risk-free rate. And if you compare it to any return you get in the real economy, it's almost 2 times. So investors love that paper and will continue investing in it. I think the concern will be when investors stop investing in the real economy, when commercial banks stop lending to ordinary businesses so that they can subscribe to this bond, you end up crowding out the private sector. So I think the big concern is the crowding out of the private sector when these bonds keep getting issued by the government.
All right, thank you very much, Ken Gishinga, CEO of Monterey Economics, giving us the details in regards to how the shilling is performing against the dollar and the impact in that regard. And talking on matters farming and our agriculture sector, small-scale tea farmers from across the Mount Kenya region took to the polls over the weekend to elect